Afzal emigrated from Pakistan in 1971. He's a former weaver in a mill, police officer, solicitor, councillor, Lord Mayor of Manchester, MEP, and the current MP for Manchester Gorton, and the shadow deputy leader of the House of Commons. He's also speaking tonight in his capacity as co-founder of the Muslim Jewish Forum, which he founded with the late Henry Gutterman over 15 years ago now. And finally, he encouraged me both in interfaith work and in particularly in politics. He encouraged me to be a councillor. So I suppose he's got a lot to answer for. So over to you, Afzal. Unmute yourself, Afzal.
Yeah, I have. Thank you very much, Heather. Can I say to everyone, good evening, salam, shalom. It's indeed a pleasure to be here with you this evening. And can I also say thank you to Heather and Amin, and of course the other executive members of the Muslim Jewish Forum for putting this event on. It's been refreshing, to be honest. COVID-19 has been difficult for all of us. And having an event like this, the way I think it's been put together, indeed has been a pleasure for me that actually on this Sunday I've taken the time out to be with you. I always try my best actually to attend the Muslim Jewish Forum events, but this is certainly one of the best ones I have enjoyed the most. And I think it's been also a pleasure because the three speakers that we've had tonight, I consider all three of them to be good friends over many, many years. The work that I have been engaged with, not only with the Muslim Jewish Forum, but broadly the interfaith work in Manchester. It's incredible, 30, 40 different organizations actually work in Manchester. I always feel so proud of Manchester in that sense of its richness, its diversity, its the different activities that takes place here. And Rosen, whose father was also the Lord Mayor of Manchester, I'm sure had the pleasure, like she said, that she went to every place of worship that exists. And that's not the only thing that you do as Lord Mayor, of course. You enjoy so much more of the city. So I too have had that. I think the couple of things I'll probably say, a part of mine is to say simply thank you. I thought to probably come in later on and listen to a few more contributions from the rest of the people who are attending this Zoom event. But nevertheless, let me say this. I thought this idea of trying to get a person from a different faith to speak about another faith is really, really positive. It's something that we really need to be thinking about. It's about putting yourself in somebody else's shoes as well. It's always a great way of exchanging ideas as well. And it's also, I think, pretty good when someone from outside that faith looks at it from outside into that faith and then shares it. In that way, you too can also actually pick up a lot more. And even those people who follow that faith can also sort of feel it coming from someone who is not part of their sort of community in that sense. So I thought that itself was really good. And the other event I thought which was really good which the Muslim Jewish Forum did was the one event which was a very difficult one, was about Gaza. And in that, I thought what was really great about it was not what was happening, but actually the way the Muslim Jewish Forum handled it. And that was about sharing your feelings, how things in the outside world have impact on you. And that also I found it really moving as well. So in that, I find this session to be sort of that sort of para of the work. So that's why I'm thanking both Amin and Heather for that. And the other thing probably I wanted to say was in my own views when I think about these things and listening to the speakers as well, all three of them, is this idea of Abrahamic faith. I've often said this, that actually for us, you know, we divide it up into Islam, Judaism, Christianity. But actually, if somebody came from out of the world, to say Mars, looked at it from outside, and they'll say, hold on a minute, what are you talking about? And because there is so much that actually unites us, the fact that Abraham is the common father of these faiths. It's the way you can look at it. You can also look at it almost like a tree, that the trunk is exactly the same, and then you get these different branches coming out of the tree. So I feel like that actually of these three faiths. And I've often said that these two faiths are the Islam, Christianity, and Judaism, the three. They really are so close to one another. And those fundamentals are actually all same. This is what it's all about. What they want, the faith want is to take their person, like I think Amin said, it's about being a good human being, and then sort of following God. That's basically the way I think these faiths sort of takes us forward like that. So the final bit I would probably say before I say a little bit more about each speaker, I would say is this, that I think living in the 21st century, this has also given us a unique opportunity, both of understanding and of seeing and observing and interacting with one another as never before. So it's even more important that actually we use this opportunity in such a positive manner where we reach out to one another. And it's by having events like this that we can exactly do this. Now, moving on to a little bit what the speakers were saying, let me start with Brother Amin. Someone I've known now for a good 20 odd years, I'd say. I find him so inspirational as well, so intelligent, so logical. And one of the things which actually I found surprising, I'd never come across someone from a Pakistani heritage person who had studied Hebrew. When I learned that Amin had done that so long ago, and I thought, wow, what an impressive individual this guy is. Normally, you find the Pakistanis, they want to be a doctor, studying being a medicine, or studying to being a lawyer or engineer and stuff like that. I never came across anyone who was from a Pakistani heritage and who had actually in the student life actually sat down and studied Hebrew. And again, listening to the command that he had on the Jewish faith, I thought again, it was sort of reinforced how impressed I am with Amin's ability and the way he shared that whole teaching of the Jewish faith. Now, on the point that he said about that he doesn't feel any contradiction, in a sense, I personally didn't find that surprising, because for me too, when I look at the Jewish faith and the more I've learned, and I would say I've learned, and I'm still learning, quite a lot of has been through the Muslim Jewish Forum. And the more I learn, the more I find that actually there's so much similarities to the extent how we live our life, the family life, and even to the synagogue and the stuff and the worship and how the layout and all those things. I can see so much commonalities that exist between these two faiths. So I thought that Amin really did a great justice to this subject today. And then, of course, talking about our friend June Raisin and her contribution and how she went through, actually, it's not easy trying to encapsulate some 2,000 years of another person's faith and the faith and as rich and diverse that also exists in Christianity, how that is evolved, and then to touch on the whole architectural side of things as well and how beautiful the churches are as well. And let me share with you something, me as a young person, when I used to think about this, I always thought only mosques were beautiful. Never realized actually almost all faiths and the way they actually do build these faith places. As Roger said, it's about almost reminding you the presence of God. And then over these years that I visited these churches and the cathedrals, I find them equally magnificent buildings, and how much effort love has gone into building these buildings as well. So I thought June's sharing of some of those feelings was sort of matched with how I personally also felt with that. And then, of course, the tremendous role the church has been playing both in health, poverty, and schools. It's tremendous that they're really having faith which actually lives with the people and tries to help the people, trying to improve those things. And I loved her example of saying what her father said, that all prayers actually go to the same place. Again, something really positive, I thought. So thank you, June, for your contribution tonight. Now moving on to our good friend Roger. Let me confess something to Roger today. I mean, he's been an amazing dean. He's someone who made a history. Now, before he was a dean, I was a Lord Mayor of Manchester, and at that time they were considering the person of the previous dean had retired, and I had hosted him at the Manchester Town Hall to say thank you on behalf of the city for the work that he had done. He too was a great dean. But then what had happened was that Prime Minister had sent somebody down to think about replacing and the possible candidates. So Rogers, I have to today let you know, I was one of those individuals who actually said to this person who came from Prime Minister to decide who should be the next dean. And I remember telling him, I said, we know that you've never had a black dean, but let me tell you, if there is a place which is ready for a black dean, it is Manchester. And I'm so glad that actually, end of the day, Rogers, we got you as our dean. And the way that you have been actually conducting yourself, reaching out to the whole wider community, and your work with the Interfaith as well. And not only that, on this hate area, which you've been doing an amazing job, because I think with this technology and all those different ideas of communication that exist, there are a hell of a lot of people out there who use these means to spread hate, try to build walls instead of building those bridges that we need. And you have been certainly instrumental in making sure that Manchester remains at the forefront of this richness and diversity and celebrating all this as well. And thank you for today as well, for sharing out some of the beliefs of the Islamic faith. And you know, you talked about Rumi. I only come across small snippets of Rumi's amazing sayings. And you sit and you just look at these two lines and say, wow, what a character individual this Rumi person was in history, and how deep his conviction and his message always is, which is so relevant even today for all of us. So thank you for that. And then, of course, on Jesus, and the one thing Roger, you did touch on was actually the mother of Jesus, Mary. I personally think it's incredible when you look about that, you know, the whole Quran. What you will find is, first of all, two personalities which are probably most repeated in the Quran are actually Moses and Jesus. Again and again, Quran plays with this theme and drives lessons and messages for all of us, how to be good contact. But the other person which you get in the Quran is actually Mary, the whole chapter on Mary, and the way Islam actually portrays Mary as an individual, as a woman, is absolutely beautiful, I think. And I usually say to my Catholic friends, if you want to see a really great description of Mary, go to the Quran and you'll see it's even better than the Catholics. So thank you very much. I may have spoken more than I should have spoken, but I can say again, I've actually enjoyed it, and that explains why I preferred speaking so much as well. Thank you very much again.